What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a banger video talking about a fairly recent shroom trip. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Drop a like if you do. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And also, be sure to check out the brand new merch drop available now, featuring the sexiest designs created entirely by viewers. 100% of this drop was designed by you guys. Head over to goblin420.com today and get your hands on some merch and leave a message for me. I respond to some of them. I can't do all of them, but I try my best. If I do respond, you'll get a little voice message in your email, so keep an eye out in your email inboxes. Thank you guys for supporting the drop, and just for this video, we got a video exclusive discount code. Use code SHROOMS at checkout for a video exclusive discount on the merch. Hope you guys enjoyed the drop. This has been by far the most successful and biggest merch drop yet. We've sold more pieces in the first week of this drop than we ever have of any other drop before. This is insane. I love you guys. Thank you all for the support. Let's dive right into the video. Also, for those of you who cop merch, DM me a receipt on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll follow a couple people back. Hey, I appreciate it. Let's dive into the video. So, today's video took place fairly recently. This happened during one of my trips to LA, one of my numerous trips to LA. As you guys know, I live in Chicago, but I go out to LA pretty much once or twice a month to film stuff. You know, I link up with the homies, I film some podcasts, I get some weed, I have a good time out there. Now, on this fateful trip, my route home had kind of gotten interfered with. You see, I had a very early flight this day. I was originally scheduled to fly back to Chicago at 9 in the morning, which was a time that I usually booked. I kind of had a strategy going for a little while. I stopped doing this now, but what I used to do is I would book early in the morning flights and then stay up all night the night before and then just sleep on the plane. Now, I learned my lesson doing this strategy pretty quickly. I learned that most flights you won't actually get any good sleep on because of A, the baby behind you, B, the drunk woman next to you, or C, you got someone like this dude next to you on your flight. So, I mean, realistically, I gave up on this strategy pretty quickly, but back at this point, I was still going for it. I still thought that was smart. Now, every time I fly home, I do it at like 5 p.m. I give myself the whole day to collect myself, chill out, do whatever. It's impossible to have a bad time if your flight's at 5 p.m. because if it gets canceled, what am I going to do? Go get dinner. If my flight gets canceled at 9 a.m., now I'm pissed. I'm up this early for nothing, you know what I'm saying? So, on this particular day, I had gotten to the airport, and I'm chilling there waiting for my flight. Everything went smoothly. You know, I go through TSA, I get through, I'm making my way towards my gate. LAX is a very big airport, so it takes a couple minutes to get to your gate, and I had a little bit of weed with me, a couple of shroom chocolate bars, and even some shroom gummies. I had the goods with me. So I get through TSA, and I'm chilling, and I make it over to my gate. And we're waiting and waiting to board, and I'm just sitting down, minding my business. And at this point, all I had done is microdose. I took a very small amount of chocolate before even calling my Uber to the airport, just to make sure that I would stay awake. You know, I had not slept at all the night before. I was pretty tired, so the microdose was giving me a little extra energy that I wouldn't have otherwise had. Now, as I'm sitting and waiting for the flight, the boarding time comes around and nothing happens. You know how it counts down on the screen? It says like, oh yeah, boarding in so many minutes. Well, the time to board came around and just absolutely nothing happened. They just sat there. After a couple minutes, the employees both left the desk entirely. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be fun. You know, listen, I've flown enough to know what that means, okay? That means either A, the flight is canceled and they're about to break you some terrible news and start handing out vouchers, or B, something serious has happened on that airplane. Maybe someone smoked in the bathroom. Maybe someone shit in a seat. I don't know, but something's going down and that's of concern to me. So I'm chilling out, we're vibing, and finally maybe 15 minutes go by after boarding. And they come on the announcer, and they don't even delay the flight. They don't do any of that. They just straight up cancel it. Like, they're just like, this flight is canceled due to maintenance issues. Come to the customer service desk, and we'll rebook you on the soonest flight possible. Now, I was a little tired, and the shrooms, of course, have brought me back, but I was still a little out of it. I was acting very slowly, you know? So when they told everyone to get up and line up at the desk, I did not partake. I did not want anything to do with that. I looked over, I saw a big-ass line. I was like, nah, bro, I'm not doing that. I realized pretty quickly after they announced it again that if I wanted another flight, I was going to have to get in line. Now, I was pissed at this point. I was super pissed. This line was so long, dude. Like, there was at least like 150 people in this. It was crazy, dude. It was nuts. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, bro. Once I realized that I actually had to get up and go to customer service, and I said to myself, I said, you know what? Fuck this. We're just going to rebook a different flight, and then we're going to just get my money back, right? We're just going to call the airline later. So I'm looking on my flights, and I'm looking, and I did not realize the day I chose to fly home was the worst possible day I could have chosen to fly home. I don't know what was going on in Chicago at this point. I don't know what the deal was, but these flights were packed. The soonest flight that I could find a seat that wasn't a middle seat on or an absolutely awfully expensive seat was later in the day, way later in the day. It was at 3 o'clock that my scheduled departure was on this second flight. That is a 6-hour difference, goddammit. So I'm sitting there, and the first couple hours after booking my new flight and sitting there waiting, I just sat on hold with American Airlines, right? I sat on hold. I was trying to get my money back, and I finally got them on the phone, and they offered me a later flight. I said, nope. Absolutely not. I made up the craziest story ever. I essentially told them that I had a terminally ill relative and I missed the flight and I don't know if they're going to make it. I pulled the degen card. I pulled the scumbag card, okay? It's okay to lie about things to get out of stuff, but I feel like it's a real scumbag thing to lie about a dying relative. That's exactly what I did, because you know what? The airlines are scumbags too, so it's fair ball. They actually felt so terrible for me that they not only refunded my flight, but they gave me a credit, and I hope no American Airlines employees ever see that, because I used that credit happily. So, either way, my flight was canceled, and now I got some downtime to wait for my second one. After I finally finished on the phone with American Airlines, I still had a solid, 5 hours left to blow. So I'm sitting there, and at first I go to the bathroom, and I post up, I hang my bag up, and I knew this little low-key bathroom. Whenever I'm at LAX, I use the same bathroom every single time. At least I try to. You see, if you're in the American terminal, you're going to want to get your ass over to the United terminal, because United, their terminal has a bathroom like no other. They have a bathroom where the handicap stall, there's a giant window that overlooks the entire runway and the gates. So you get to look at all the cool airplanes and stuff while you hit your vape in secret, or maybe the pilots can see you. I don't know. Who gives a shit? The other good thing about this bathroom, and I feel like I've talked about this bathroom in a video before, but the other good thing about this legendary LAX spot is that it seems like nobody knows this bathroom exists. It's like at the end of this little hallway thing where it's separated from any of the terminals. There's no stores really near it. It's kind of near the customer service desk for United, but not really, It's just in a very weird location, but it seems like no one ever goes in here. I used to come in this bathroom and post up, and there's only 2 stalls in the whole bathroom, but I used to come in here and post up, and maybe 1 or 2 other people would come in the entirety of the time I spent smoking in there. So I busted out my Puffco. I'm sitting in this stall. I'm looking over the runway. I drop a dab in that bad boy, and I take myself a rip. I realized very quickly that that was probably the stupidest idea I could have had, because that dab was going to knock me out, and there was no way I was going to make my flight if I passed out face down in a bathroom stall. So I'm fighting for my fucking life in this stall, trying to hold all the smoke in. I took a very small dab. I took it on the lowest temp possible. That was really the only way that I was ever willing to smoke anything but a cart in the airport. Pro tip, you can do it. You can use an e-rig. Just be very careful, right? One cough, one wrong move, it's out of there. No fly list, baby. So you gotta be strategic. Tiny dab, low temp, inhale slow and steady. Make sure to cover up the mouth hole whenever you're not inhaling directly. Just be slick with it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was doing. So I take this dab, this tiny little dab, and I rip it, and I'm chilling. I hold it in, and everything's okay. And I was in the perfect bathroom to do this in, because there was nobody else ever coming in here. So after I finished my dab, I decided that I needed a little more shrooms. I was like, fuck it, let's microdose a little further. Now, once I pulled the shroom chocolates out of my bag, I don't really know what hit me, but I just suddenly decided, no, I don't need to microdose. We got enough time for a real dose. So I didn't really know how to dose these chocolates I had. You see, these things I was bringing home were homemade. There was no label on this. There was no indication of how many shrooms, how much was in this. I had absolutely no clue what was going down here. Now, I had taken just a little bit earlier in the day, and I decided that it was time to really get it going. So I downed 3 pieces sitting in this bathroom stall. Now, I don't really know what the dosage was, but the chocolate bar was not broken into very many pieces. I mean, there was probably 8 squares on this whole bar, and I had now downed 4 of them in total, 3 just now and 1 is the microdose earlier. So we were really in for a treat on this fine morning. So I left out of the bathroom after I finished my chocolate. I put my Puffco away. I dumped the water that I poured in it into the toilet, and I skedaddled on out of there, right? Now, as I left the bathroom, I'm trying to figure out what to do next because I still had quite a while until I had to board. It was maybe 11 o'clock or like 11:15 at this point. It was a couple hours after my flight, and I still had a ways to go, so I opted to go get some lunch. Now, I'm looking around the terminal. I'm trying to figure out where to grab lunch. I ended up settling on a bar that had a really discomforting amount of Stella signs around. Like, these guys pretty much only drank and promoted Stella. It was like every direction you looked, they had a new sign promoting this shit. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, whatever. We'll go to Stella headquarters, get some drinks, fuck it, get some food. So I go sit down at this bar and I'm trying to figure out whether they have food or not. Now, I never ended up actually eating. You see, as I was sitting at this bar, I started myself off with a drink, and I'm chilling for a little bit. Maybe 15, 20 minutes go by. I'm 2 vodka crans deep, and I'd kind of forgotten about ordering. I realized that I felt like I was starting to feel the come up a little bit, which was strange because it hadn't really been that long. I was, maybe thinking that it was just the liquor or the dab hitting and the lack of sleep all coming together, but I don't know. I felt like the shrooms were kind of hitting. Another 20 or so minutes went by, and the shrooms were definitely hitting. For some reason, I kept looking at the bartender in a really weird way, and I feel so sorry for that guy. Like, I feel awful for him, because I must have looked like I was about to shoot him. Like, I just kept mugging this guy. I don't really know what it was. He just looked funny to me. When I'm off the shrooms, people look very strange to me. I don't know what it is. I know, when you guys take acid, you stand in the mirror and you look at yourself and you just look so strange. You're just captured by it. You can't look away. That's how I am looking at other people on the shrooms. And it's strange because those effects aren't like interchangeable, So when I'm on acid, other people look normal. I'm the one that looks weird. When I'm on shrooms, other people look weird. I think I'm Andrew Tate, listen. I'm staring at this guy like a pit bull stares at a child. I'm ready to pounce, dude. I don't know what it was. Like, mentally, it's not like I was thinking, oh, I'm going to fuck this guy up. But I was just staring at him, and I know that it was weird for him. I just know it. So I'm chilling at this bar. The shrooms are slapping. For some reason, it just feels like my senses are becoming enhanced. Slowly, I'm picking out voices around me a little louder and more clearly. The colors around me are becoming much more exciting. The textures of things are becoming much more sharp and apparent. I was paying attention to things that normally I would never pay attention to. And I was sitting there, and I was getting a little bit scared because I was like, oh, fuck. Did I take too much? Like, did I fuck up really bad right now? Because I had almost completely forgotten that I was even about to board a plane. I thought I was just vibing at the bar, and then I realized I was like, oh, fuck, I'm at an airport, It hit me again. I came back to reality. I'm like, shit. So I leave this bar. I didn't get any food. By the time I left this bar, it was probably about 12 o'clock. So I had 3 hours until takeoff. I go sit back at some random gate. I pretty much just found the first little secluded corner that I could go chill in by myself. And I'm not going to lie, this come up was crazy. I was having some sensory overload, dude. Like, I felt weird, man. So I had to just kind of take myself to the most secluded area and chill the fuck out. So I throw my backpack down, I lay on it like a pillow, and I'm sitting there scrolling through TikTok on my phone. No earbuds in or anything, just vibing, just chilling, scrolling through my For You page, which was probably full of terrible things that no one else should have heard. I mean, my For You page is a cesspool, dude. It's crazy. But either way, I'm laying over there just chilling out. And finally, I get back up out of this corner maybe like an hour later. And when I got up is when I really realized, like, oh shit, I'm tripping balls right now. You see, when you're laying still and things aren't moving around you and you're focused on one stable thing, it's really easy to stay grounded. It's really easy to make it feel like you're not tripping as hard as you really are. It's once you stand up, once you get out of that situation or you start moving or doing anything else, it's over, dude. So I was really keeping myself grounded on the come up until I stood up. I got up. I don't even know what my plan was or where I was going. I think I was going to get a water. And I was just like, oh my God. The terminal looked so long. There were so many people and chairs around me. And it just felt like everything was pulsing. It felt like I could feel the life of everything around me, almost like the heartbeat made the shape of their body just pulse out a little bit. It was such a weird visual experience, but I was still collected enough to understand where I was and what was happening. Things looked super different and stood out a lot, but I was still able to understand, like, okay, I'm at the airport, I'm at the terminal, yada, yada. I would guesstimate that this was probably a 2 gram to 2.5 gram dose. I don't really know, though. I will never know. These chocolates were homemade, so fuck if I know. But either way, I'm walking away from this corner that I was sitting in, and I start just kind of taking a leisurely little stroll. You know, I was really feeling the vibes. It was actually a nice day out, and you know LAX, you know how the airport usually is. You got the big floor-to-ceiling windows, so I was just soaking in the sunlight, kind of vibing out, and I was feeling really, really nice. Now, out of nowhere, this is something that unfortunately had to happen this day because it doesn't happen that often. So this is terrible timing, but I got recognized. Some dude came up to me, super friendly guy, was like, hey, are you Goblin? And listen, when I'm on psychedelics, it's like I develop Asperger's, okay? I can't socialize, all right? I wonder if the opposite thing happens for people that do have it normally. Like, I wonder if you give a guy who has Asperger's or autism some shrooms, and then he just takes your bitch, you know? He just becomes like social Chad. That would be kind of crazy. I do the opposite whenever I'm on psychs. I completely lose the capability to say hello to someone. Like, I can't even form a sentence because I'm too busy staring into your eyes because I think I see Satan in there. Listen, dude, I was tripping. So this dude comes up and he says hello to me, and I do my very, very best to say hi back. But it was a really awkward conversation with quite a few very uncomfortable moments of silence where I think he was waiting for me to answer something he said, but I just was not picking up on that at all. It was a weird interaction. If you're out there watching this, dude, I'm so sorry, okay? I was actually wearing a very fitting outfit. I was wearing a Grateful Dead hoodie that day. So you might remember, if you're the guy who bumped into me in the Grateful Dead hoodie at the airport, I'm so sorry, dude. I was tripping balls. But either way, oh, God. So he says hello, we finish our conversation, and I continue my nice little stroll through the airport. Now, the rest of waiting for my flight was honestly chill. I had kind of gotten over my initial come up, and what I felt like was also somewhat of a peaking period. It was really intense. That first couple hours was insane, but just taking a nice stroll, and that section where I had laid on the ground, or that portion of my day was really helped keep me grounded. You know, it helped a lot. So when it came time to board my flight, I was feeling much more chill. However, I was definitely still tripping. I had not redosed at all. I didn't want to. I had no interest in doing such a thing. So when boarding time came around, I hopped on my flight, I got in my seat, and I figured that I was all good. You know, I had kind of come down, I'd gotten over the peak. But something happened to me during takeoff. I had this extremely strange physical feeling for most of the duration of the flight where, like, my body almost knew it wasn't supposed to be up this high. I just felt this tingling feeling, this slight level of G-force that was just really, really, like, I don't know. I almost wanted to say it felt good, but not really. At times it made me uncomfortable. At times it made me feel good. But I was on this plane and it just seemed like the craziest shit ever. It went from being a mental trip to a physical trip, which is a really strange thing that I've never experienced before. But I was just feeling these crazy sensations, looking out of the window, seeing us get higher, seeing us go through the clouds. I'm usually scared as shit of flying, but off the shrooms, I was looking out the window the whole time, bro. I thought I was Jesus. I couldn't believe it. Now, at other points, the body load got really too intense, and that also kind of combined with the turbulence. It wasn't a very smooth flight, so there were certain points where my body load went from being like super happy, smiling, wow, I feel so nice and warm, to like, oh, the plane just dropped 50 feet, my feet are tingling, and I think this is the end, you know? Like, listen, it was a really back and forth kind of experience. The cool part, though, was that I literally got to watch the sun set while I was tripping on this plane. That was one of the coolest visual experiences I've ever had on any psych ever. It was incredible, because we took off from LA at 3 o'clock, but Chicago's also 2 hours ahead. We were flying at the perfect time where the destination we started at, it was broad daylight, and the destination we were ending at, it was the dead of night. So like halfway through the flight, we got to watch the sun change and go down and the sky get really orange and colorful and then a little bit of purple in there before it was fully night. And oh my God, it was amazing, dude. I remember I was sitting window seat initially on the flight, or not window seat, I was sitting aisle, initially on my flight, because I typically book the aisle seat. I like to get up and get off. But the row in front of me had an open window seat, and I got up as soon as I was able, once they turned the seatbelt sign off, and yoinked that shit, bro. I was like, yeah, hey, I'ma need that seat, bro. I'ma need that. So I took the window seat, and I didn't even ask the other guy in the row. Low-key, it was probably rude of me. He was probably excited to have his own row, and then this guy just appears and just takes the window seat, tripping balls, starts drooling on the armrest, and just staring out the window. Like, that guy must have been kind of blown. But whatever, dude. Listen, you paid for one seat, not the whole row, dickhead. I don't know why I called him a dickhead, honestly. He was a perfectly nice guy. Didn't even say anything, you know? I mean, I honestly, I just remember there was a dude in the aisle seat in that row. I don't even remember anything about him. He really minded his own business. But either way, so I'm looking out the window and I am just amazed. And I started coming down throughout this flight, but just this pure euphoria that I was left with as I got off this plane was crazy as hell. I don't think I would take shrooms and intentionally trip on a flight again, but I will say that I had a really good time with it. I think the only reason I had a good time with it is because I took them long enough before the flight, so I caught the flight during my kind of come down period, you know? If I boarded that flight right after eating those 3 chocolates, that would have been a nightmare. I would have popped that emergency door and dolphin dove out that shit, bro. No chance. Luckily, it went super well. It was one of the few extremely memorable solo shroom trips that I've had. Most of the time, when I take shrooms solo, it's a microdose or it's a light trip. Very rarely do I actually take enough on my own to trip balls, because I just never really feel the urge to. You know, if I'm on my own, I just want a nice light dose so I can still function. If I'm with other people, then I'll take more than I can function with, because I got other people to look out for me, so we good. But either way, it was a wonderful trip. It was a wonderful experience and a fantastic flight, man. Hey, Goblin420.com, use code SHROOMS for an exclusive video-only discount. Hey, we haven't tweeted this. We haven't posted this on Instagram. This discount is only in this video, baby. So pull up to Goblin420.com. Thank you guys for watching this one. This one's getting very long, so we're going to call it here. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.